welcome to ECS. It's time for North America. And as you can see, you've got Janko back here again. How's it going, Janko? It's been an hour since you were last on the stream.
Yes,
much has
changed since then.
Yeah, so you sneakily playing some Overwatch.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you add anything to your list of demands for the studio that you're working on?
No, I'm working on it.
Okay, we'll come back to that. And of course, we also have some of our community casters. We've got Jack and Dowse. So how's it going, guys?
Yeah, good. Chicken korma 2 nights in a row, so that's...
Brilliant. Welcome to England.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to England.
Lovely.
Yeah, so again, let's do some introductions because we might have a bunch of new viewers who aren't familiar with your faces and your backstories. So firstly, Dowse, how did you get involved and how long have you been casting and so on?
Sure. So I actually got involved in casting by mistake, which I think most people do, right?
That's true, actually.
Definitely how Dan got into it.
That's actually completely true, yeah.
I was making some highlight videos for the National University's Esports League, and people said, hey, you got a good voice for it. Do you want to try casting some League of Legends? So I did that for about a year, and it was pretty good. And then I wanted to expand my repertoire, so I got into Overwatch and got into Counter-Strike, casted the National University's Esports League with Jack Evans for the 2nd season, and then found myself doing this ECS challenge, which was amazing, and really taught me a lot about myself.
Awesome.
Taught me a lot about how to deal with teams like Flipside and their executes, yes.
I was going to say, we'd have to come back to what you learned about yourself. That sounds interesting. But
that's Dowse's life story, like over and done with. That's pretty much all of it.
And yourself, Jack?
I'm just still a 3rd-year student finishing up my degree. I kind of started casting, again, like by mistake. I was going on the bus to support my uni team at a LAN, and like the night before, somebody put a panic Facebook post out being like, we don't have any CSGO or League of Legends casters. And I was like, great, yeah, I'll do it. And it was all right, so I started looking for other stuff to do. I ended up being in the National University Esports League with Dowse, and the rest was history.
Awesome. And, Janko, just a quick correction. It wasn't actually a mistake, me getting to casting. It was just my last possible option, the only place that would take me.
How did your beginnings look like?
Well, I was a Quake player, and I made some videos on YouTube, and then FACEIT contacted me for a reference from a friend. Like, here's a guy who speaks English and has played Quake, and you're doing Quake tournament, you should try him. And they're like, oh, let's hire this guy.
So basically through connections.
Yes, yeah, definitely not free merit, as we've established. So, Janko, this is not a meritocracy. I never asked you these questions. You talk to me before. You're like, Dan, you ask everyone all these questions, but you never direct them at me. You've been here for a week. Janko, where did you come from?
Serbia, then.
So you came from Serbia.
Yeah, Belgrade, Serbia.
That's true, I guess. We already know that. What else? How do you get into analysis?
How to get into analysis? I started off, I was a player, obviously, first. Then I started doing some observing. Started doing for ESL. My first major event was Katowice 2015. Then they started inviting me to more events. But I figured that I might sneak my way into the desk then. It seemed much more interesting, a lot more fun. And I thought there was a niche that could be filled on the desk that was missing.
Mouse sports analysis.
Mouse sports analysis, of course. So I was constantly nagging people about, come on, give me a shot, this smaller event, I can do it, It's no big deal, trust me. And DreamHack finally gave me a chance.
I worked with you on the first event?
Yeah, Dan. We did my first event. It was the Cluj qualifiers in Stockholm for DreamHack. Did the World Championship, a bit of it in San Jose as well. Then DreamHack Winter. It was again FACEIT finals. That was in 2015, and from 2016, this year, it's been pretty much everything from the beginning of the year, so pretty awesome.
Essentially, nice. With a small loan of $1 million from your father, you've just found yourself playing and casting some CSGO.
Pretty much.
Nice.
For us, it's like, let me do this small event, this university team that no one's ever heard of playing in a league. That's where we get our grassroots experience from, I guess.
Nice. It's always a good place to start. And, let's go back into CSGO. Of course, we have a lot of North American matches coming your way. 6 maps will be today's tally of games. So let's check out the leaderboard and see where the teams stand so far before we check out the schedule. And SK right at the top. No surprise there. Optic right at the top. Also no surprise there. Any things you guys want to comment on?
Well, Luminosity have kind of got a bit of a relegation scrap on their hands, possibly. So maybe, although they're at the bottom of the table, they kind of still need to get today's points pretty badly.
They definitely need some points.
Optic can still get first seed.
Yeah.
I mean, SK isn't guaranteed first seed. You can see that they are done with all of their games. They have 14 wins, and Optic can get a potential of 15 up there if they win all of their remaining games. So they still have a game with Cloud9 to play, so that's going to be a tough one to 2-0. But we'll see. I think it's pretty clear cut as to the first three teams, SK, Optic, and Cloud9, and then it's all about that fourth spot. You can see that Immortals, CLG, Liquid, those are the three teams that will be fighting for that last spot. And it's interesting, Dan, I don't know if you agree, but all these three teams have been struggling lately. I mean, CLG struggling for a while, but Immortals and Liquid, I mean, Liquid top 2 at the last major, top 4 at ESL1 New York, Immortals winning DreamHack Summer, winning Northern Arena, and then not making out of the groups in E-League and Pro League finals. So there is an opening even for a team like CLG to make the LAN finals, who have been trying to, find the right roster and everything.
Yes, that is actually a very good point about CLG and those other two teams. Immortals especially, their performance has been really weird. It seems like they're getting into their own heads or something. But it's cool, it's very fitting you mentioned the LAN finals, because of course that is what all the teams are playing for. And it will be the 9th to the 11th of December this year, of course. Otherwise, it'd be really weird. It'd be very far away. But we're at Anaheim now. We've moved it to America. Last one was in Wembley. And if you go to anaheim.csgoleague.com, you can find out all the different packages that you can invest in to get yourselves over to the stadium, the arena in Anaheim. And as you can see, there is a 25% discount going on if you check out the bit.ly link, which you'll also see if you miss it on the overlay periodically throughout the games that will be casted. And also, if you're a student, if you're struggling for cash because you're a student, I guess that's universally true, then that we can get free tickets still. I believe there are still tickets available, but they are limited, so get on that as soon as possible. And, well, hope to see you there. And that brings us into a quick look at the schedule today to see what kind of games we actually have, to look forward to. And, first things first, I believe we've got Luminosity playing Liquid, as you guys can see. So probably some easy points for Liquid here.
You would assume so. Liquid should be able to pick up a 2-0 over Luminosity. They've been struggling recently. Having a look at some of their recent wins and recent losses over the board, it's not looking so shiny for Luminosity.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a day where Liquid can get those much-needed points. They're the clear-cut favorite, I think, in all their showdowns here so far today. And we have a nice couple maps to finish off with, Cloud9 versus Optic, two of the top 3 teams at the moment. That'll be really fun. Double train those. So
yeah.
It'll be very interesting as well as fun. But yeah, so those are the games we have to look forward to. So let's start talking about the first one, Liquid versus Luminosity on Train. So Dowse, first of all, I'm going to ask you, where do you stand this one? What are your quick thoughts about it?
Quick thoughts, it should be Liquid's game to win. However, they have been struggling recently, as said. It feels for Liquid they had a chance and they showed a lot of light that they could be the NA's new top talent. But since recently JDM has been struggling in his performances, and when JDM struggles, the team started to fall apart a little bit. So for Team Liquid, they've brought in Zeus recently from Immortals to coach them. They're doing that for Northern Arena and IEM Oakland, I guess, as a trial thing. And of course, they will get the direct benefit of playing today with a coach as well. So that means that they might be able to work out some of the kinks that they're struggling with as a team. And I'm really interested to see what Zeus' influence can bring to the Team Liquid roster. Yeah,
Janko, Zeus as a coach, again, what do you think his impact's actually going to be?
Seems like Liquid fancies the Brazilians. First Peacemaker, now Zeus. Liking that coaching style. Well, with Zeus, he did contribute, of course, to SK, but he wasn't an in-game leader type of a coach. It was always Fallen who was in-game leading. Zeus was more of an analyst, so to speak, right? Studying their opponents, maybe finding out new stuff that they could use, being a person who is obviously not in the game, who can give an outside perspective on what's going on in timeouts and so forth. So I'm interested to see how he will fare in Liquid now that they are actually searching for someone who can be the in-game leader or at least help tremendously with that role and delegate it to one of the players. I think that there's definitely a lot he could have picked up from his time in SK/Luminosity. So I think that was the biggest problem for Liquid, leadership after the departure of Peacemaker. So I'm hoping for an improvement, but it is going to take some time, at least a little bit of time, for us to see which way is Liquid going to go.
And how about you, Jack? How do you feel about the addition of Zeus here?
I think it's fair to expect there will be an uptick in their performance. With the caliber of the players on Liquid, I'm surprised, to be honest, especially after getting that strong finish at ESL 1 New York, that they would have these kinds of problems. So if something needed to change, it probably wasn't the players. So hopefully Zeus is the pickup they need. On the other hand, Luminosity do really need a win here, and the two teams above them are both on 9 points. So if they can win at least one game here, that helps. If they can take both in some miracle, though I don't think they're ever going to get cobbled, but say they did, they're out of the, they're qualified for the LAN finals. And for such a young roster, I think that would be absolutely huge for them. So they do really want this game. It's just unfortunate for them in this matchup as well, because Luminosity love to play overpass, and Liquid ban it straight out every single game and have done for months. So it's just really unfortunate for them in a game that they really need. They're up against a team that will never ever let them have overpass. Yeah,
and Dowse, I mean, we have a situation where Liquid are more than comfortable on the both maps that will be played, but we have seen some perhaps anomalous results very recently, in fact, from the likes of Luminosity. Do you think that Train is a map where they could possibly find upset? Obviously, Cobblestone was where they recently had a pretty interesting double overtime against SK, but we'll try not to talk about that too much.
I think the thing for Luminosity is that their roster has been together for 2 months now, with the addition of Showtime and is it PKL who's also come in for them. And so that gives them enough time to try and work out what they need to do as a roster, what kind of defaults they're going to run, who's going to play where, who's shot calling, all those different aspects the team need to get. So for a young Brazilian roster, of course, they've got huge shoes to fill, being the team that replaced SK. And now they've got a position, having 2 months on the board, where we're going to start seeing what this team is capable of. And for them, of course, they're hoping that they're capable of getting out of the last place spot here in the ECS Season 2.
All right, I guess we'll have to see how it goes. So let's wrap things up with the winning conditions. So Janko first. Obviously, as the underdog, Luminosity, what do they have to do? What has to go right or wrong for Liquid for them to take this one?
I think they, more than anything else, have to be on point individually, because in terms of firepower, Liquid has a lot of it, especially Elige has been playing super well throughout the year, even recently in Northern Arena, even though they didn't manage to qualify for the playoffs. So first, it's that, dealing with Liquid's individuals.
All right, and Dowse, you?
I'm really interested to see what kind of experience Showtime can bring for Luminosity. He's a player with broad experience, has played with some of the best players. And so if he's able to bring just a snippet of advice, maybe a snippet of calm in the storm that could be a match, and keep his players focused, that could be huge for Luminosity.
All right, Jack, where do you stand?
I think it sort of comes down to one player on either side. So, you've got Yal for Luminosity as maybe the biggest talent on this team, and he's capable of some pretty big stuff. On the other hand, I think Hika had a particularly bad time recently. He's had some very awful starting rounds, even ages before he even got on the board. And he's now learning a new system under Zeus. So I think maybe there's a lot of pressure on him to perform. And hopefully having a different coaching structure in place, the most positive scenario will be that it somehow frees him to get back to fragging again, just changing things up for him, mentally.
All right, well, thank you very much, gents, for the insights. Now it's time to actually get into the match. So we'll go to a quick break and we'll be back very soon with Luminosity versus Liquid on Train.